A very good morning. It's Saturday morning. It will be when we drop the show. Saturday, of course, in Australia for me, but it'll be pretty early in the morning for you, Chase, when this drops. Anyway, hello and welcome back to Magic Partners Live. A live record for the time being because we're just working out some streaming issues, but we thought this is a lot cleaner way to come to you, and we haven't seen you in a long time. So hello everyone. Hello everyone in Australia. Hello,
guys.
Yeah, and hello everyone in the US. And hi Chase. It's been a while, but we're back here, and the biggest challenge that we've got on the show, if no one's joined before, is trying to fit everything we want to talk about in an hour, because get ready for it, but Chase and I can go on about Disney like
nobody's business.
Yeah, we can go on about Disney. And we've got a fair bit to get through because we thought we'd go back a bit and just talk about what's been happening in the last couple of months at Disneyland and, of course, Disney World as well, because there is a lot to talk about. And I guess a lot of people don't know that some of these things are open and things are happening. Really exciting times for the parks in particular, because we've got a commitment over the next 10 years to spend $60 billion on parks across the world. Across the world. 60 billion. And that includes cruise line as well. So we already know we're going to get the Treasure coming up soon, and another very large ship that's going to come out of Singapore as well. We're going to talk about the Treasure today. But Chase, look, being the expert at Disneyland, let's go over and talk a little bit about Disneyland.
Absolutely.
And let's start off with something that kicked off a while ago, which is Oogie Boogie Bash. Now,
Oogie Boogie.
I just wanted to talk about and get your take on the ticket situation. So we had a couple of So first of all, we sold tickets to Magic Key holders, I'm right, and they didn't have any difficulty getting tickets. So they were fine, everyone was happy. And then we had sort of it go to the open public, and we had, I'm going to say, 3 tries and 3 breakdowns of the site until we finally got to a place where they were actually selling tickets from memory. And then they sold out in an hour or two. And
they were gone.
Yeah. Which is a complete and utter record. Like the year before, it was a couple of weeks before it sold out from memory. And so reasoning behind this, do you think, Chase? Do you think we had a lot of ticket scalpers buying tickets? That's what I'm sort of alluding to. And do we? Yeah. Do you think that's what happened?
Definitely a problem.
Yeah.
It was a huge problem. And in fact, Disney was watching, and they're like, hey, you know what? These tickets are non-transferable.
Yep.
Do not go spending $800 to $1,000 on these tickets on eBay, because we will not let you in.
Yeah.
And they are aware of the people doing that. It is very hard to stop it. You just have to actually stop it at the gate, which then is kind of lousy for the people who are buying, because they get there and all of a sudden, oh, you're not allowed in. This is a ticket that says it belongs to Joe, and you look like a Mary, and nope, not going to work.
Yeah. So
you have to purchase them under a name. So it's Don't do it, folks. Don't scalp tickets.
I can tell you there was a fair bit of chatter on it on our Facebook group, which is Australians Travelling to Disney. Hi, everyone from that group. So we had a lot of chatter on that group about the fact that they just missed out. And when you're traveling from, you know, around the country, meaning the US, or internationally like Australia, you come in, you've spent a lot of dollars to get there, and spend a lot of time planning, and you can't go to Oogie Boogie Bash over Halloween, and it's disappointing. It really is. When and I saw a lot of people unhappy, and probably even a lot of locals as well. I won't lie. Yeah.
I'm unhappy. I don't get to go. I'm a Magic Key holder. I wanted to be there. I wanted to see Oogie Boogie. I wanted to go into the Villains Grove. I wanted to see the awesome new villains that they have this year. And it's just like, I keep on missing out on that opportunity to go to the Oogie Boogie Bash. But, you know, fortunately, you know, I can live vicariously through some of my favorite streamers out there and still get to see all the great, you know, meet and greets that they have set up. They've really done a phenomenal job this year. And
absolutely,
it was even extended. So, you know, they added more days. So, you know, someday I'll get to go. I'll get to go to my Oogie Boogie moment.
we were actually lucky to go to the first year, and it is insanely good. And after that first year, it just took off. Like, everyone loved it so much. Let's turn off the bad. Let's focus on the good. So, what do we get in terms of new characters this year? So, I think the standout one was Dr. Doom from Roger Rabbit. Judge Doom. He was awesome, and he was even like cooking up some tunes in his little pot there, because
it actually, you know, there's I've seen some of I wish they had a little bit more to the effect, but they have added some stuff to it. It does occasionally do a little bit more to the effects, but I kind of wish that he had, like, because he puts on the big, you know, gloves that go all the way up to his elbow. So it's like, if he's gonna dip in the shoe, he at least should put his glove in some like red food coloring and come up with I'm like, that would have sold it for me. I would have been bawling. But he looks fantastic. He sounds fantastic and creepy. And I kind of half expected to see Roger somewhere jump out in costume, which you don't get to see very often. He's not a costumed character very often anymore.
Yeah, it's probably a hard character to pull off.
Been hilarious.
Yeah, it would have been. Even if he grabbed him by the ears and tried to put him in the pot. Anyway. So the other standouts was, well, new characters. We got Lotso there, which apparently he smelled like strawberries. Some people said he didn't. Some people said he did. Depending on time of night, maybe. I'm not sure, but that was Lotso. And then we had the villain as well from Big Hero 6, which his official name is Yokia. And he was good. Didn't have such a big lineup. The only thing I would say is they got the voice wrong, to be honest.
Well, the thing is there's not a voice for him in the movie. He doesn't speak.
That's right.
And that's what makes him far scarier, is he has no voice. And so when he started talking and he sounds like he's a teacher or like a guy in his 20s, I was like, that's wrong, because it's Professor Callahan. It's supposed to be an older gentleman. And the fact that it's, you know, now it sounds like this guy that's in his, you know, prime of life in his 20s, it's like, nope. I don't know. It's not working. You ruined it right there. I actually think it would be really cool if they had him walking around San Fransokyo. I think
Yep.
if they had him just like walking around during the day, because he doesn't have to speak then.
Yep.
He would just be there to grab, just like having him walk around almost like, Din Djarin and everybody in Galaxy's Edge. You could just
Yep.
have him parading around San Fransokyo making an appearance, and everybody was like,
Yep.
And then, of course, when Baymax and Hero come out, they're like, "Hey, have you seen him? We're looking for him."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yep.
maybe help us, like,
Maybe that's something they're planning.
make a fun little thing out of it. So
Yeah. And look, so moving off Oogie Boogie Bash, which roaring success again, sold out, etc., etc. We're crying we didn't go. So the other thing that's opened, of course, up in Disneyland, over in DCA, is San Fransokyo. And talking about the villain from Big Hero 6, this is all about the movie and all about the fictitious San Fransokyo, which of course is a bit of a cross between San Francisco and Tokyo. Look, this has always been kind of a food court kind of section of DCA, and the fact that they've now themed it is made it 100% better. I think they've done a good job. I'm going to say the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge looks great. I didn't drop a photo here, but that looks great. And of course, we have these two guys there.
Baymax.
Yeah. So really good to see them.
Baymax.
Yeah. It's fantastic. He talks, his eyes move, and just when you see him walk out, you just want to hug him straight away. I think this was, I don't know what, I think this was kind of long overdue. We really wanted to see Baymax for a long time, and now you can. So that's it's been a really good addition. How long would you say the transformation took, Chase? Because they were doing it over time, 6 months-ish, do you think?
I want to say, I would say that sounds kind of right, but also it sounds kind of short because they they were starting to work on the bridge, and then the bridge seemed to it just seemed to take so long. It's like, and then it was partially painted, and it was red, and then there was these gray, and I was like, what are you guys doing?
Do it, yeah.
And then it finally all came up, and it looks phenomenal now. It looks great. So, and from what I've heard from the reviews that I've gathered from my friends who have been there, from the streaming on TikTok, the food is fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty good over there. I've got to say, it was a good food stop, but now it's sort of themed to Fransokyo. It's even better. So there's Baymax, of course. So awesome.
It looks great.
Yeah, it does.
There's so many Easter eggs, hidden in just this little hero's garage, is just all kinds of stuff. If there's Go-Go's bike up there, and it's like everything. You just have to you could probably go over with a magnifying glass and find all kinds of stuff from the movie in that little area there.
That's what Disney's about, those details, isn't it? Everything they seem to launch in the parks has, all the details. And, you can look once and not catch everything. It takes, like you said, a microscope to find everything. And that's just so good. We love that about Disney. And, of course, they've got a retail outlet now there as well. And you can see up there, the details of all the bot fighting. So you've got Heroes bot up there, the winner as well. And some of the merch is really cute in that store as well. So look, Baymax waving us goodbye from from there. The next thing,
I'll be there next month.
Yeah, Yeah. Yep. So let me get back to us. So look, Chase is got a website there, a blog site, which is disneylandtoday.net. Forgot to mention this at the start. Go over there for all the details and all the information you want, whatever want on Disneyland. And when you go into the parks, we often see a live stream on TikTok, which is your little QR code there as well. So do go over to TikTok because very entertaining live streaming there as well. The next thing, let's move on from Fransokyo and go to another opening, which is over in Disneyland Park, which is Tiana's place. Again, we had a very big intro to this, and it took a while, and we had lots of updates coming through of photos, and then it finally opened to a massive lineup, and looked like this, which is very close to the concept art. A beautiful looking restaurant.
I think it looks better than the concept art, honestly.
Yeah. Beautiful looking restaurant. And look, they've even left a gap there in the center for Tiana to come onto the balcony, just like in the concept art as well. So.
And she has a new outfit. So she is wearing an outfit very similar to what she wore in her sequence where she's singing about Almost There.
Yep.
Where she's kind of in a very casual but very kind of flapper 20s. I think that would be around the area, like 20s, 30s, kind of big band swing.
Yeah.
Right around that type of she was wearing an outfit very similar to that, and yet she still has the beautiful shades of, like, you know, olive green and lime kind of green, and she looks beautiful. So and apparently this has been a hit with a lot of people. Really good food. So I've heard nothing but good things about Tiana's Palace. Yeah,
and that's the interior. I love the way they did the blue ceiling. That's sort of the upgrade, and they've made it a lot lighter color than what it used to be as well. So I think it makes it open and airy and a lot more welcoming. And of course, then the menu. So this is just a scroll down on Disneyland's side of the menu. You guys can, freeze it if you want to see anything. One thing I noticed, apart from all the yummy food and beverages I got there, is there's a lot of catering for allergies. So you can see an egg allergy here, fish and shellfish, right the way down to a milk allergy, which would be great for my wife, and a peanut one there as well. So you guys can pause on that and have a look. All sites available over there at Disneyland's website as well. I mean, here's some of the food. So these photos just make me hungry.
That looks so good.
And yeah, all of the food looks good. You just have to watch a little bit with some of them. It is Cajun food, so think Blue Bayou.
Spicy.
Yeah, so think Blue Bayou, a little bit spicy, some of the dishes, but there is, of course, other dishes that aren't so spicy as well. And the sandwiches look great as well. Just, I'm getting hungry now, and that looks beautiful. And
of course, you get a new Disney cold brew.
Yeah, of course you would, because every restaurant and quick service you go into has got a cold brew these days in Disneyland. We love it, though. We absolutely love it. So that was Tiana's place. I think you agree, Chase. Now an iconic restaurant, quick service in Disneyland. I think it really adds to what's coming up in terms of the revamp of Splash Mountain into sort of a Princess and the Frog theme ride, and really brings New Orleans into line with all of that as well. Like, it really makes sense now, where it possibly didn't before. Splash was kind of in between sort of Critter Country, so it was attached to that, but, you know, it was also attached to New Orleans. So yeah, quickly, what's your thoughts on Splash Mountain? Obviously, a favorite of everyone for many, many years. Going over,
not me.
Not you.
Yeah, I have not been a big fan of Splash Mountain. Only because I just do not like rides that drop you like that. I am not a fan I've never been a big fan of Splash Mountain, and I definitely can't ride Mission Breakout for Guardians of the Galaxy. Can't do drop rides like that. They terrify me. And it's so, I'm sure I will ride it just to see everything for myself. Once I will go on it once, but I'm sure I'm probably going to be terrified because I still know what's coming on the ride. The track is going to be the same. So it's just going to be a matter of what's inside, what's the new story, what does it look like? And, then there's that absolute part that you just wish you could skip and just not plummet.
Yeah. Look, I don't mind it. I can do it all day. I would say that Maria's with you. She absolutely hates it, but she comes on it with us like a trooper and kind of sits behind and closes her eyes and buries her head in my shoulder when we go down. But last time when we were there at the holiday season, we got really wet, and that was hard to take in the middle of winter. So
yeah,
I would say, make sure you're very ponchoed up when you go down there in wintertime. Not so bad in the summer because you can get dried off, but it was really cold.
No. In the summer, that's where it thrives, because that's where everybody is in line for that, and they're going 4 or 5 times to escape from the heat, and it's just so I would, if we're talking about water rides and flumes and everything like that, I would prefer just going on Grizzly River Run. I could go on that all day. I love Grizzly over at DCA. That to me is a far more fun ride. But I am still looking forward to seeing how this ride transitions, what it looks like. The big news will be when we get our tower. So when we get the water tower that is already in Walt Disney World, then it'll be kind of official, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But we're not going to see it till next year. We kind of know that. It's construction is. We're not seeing any big elements yet, but we hope to see it next year. So another thing that's under construction, and it has been for quite the while, is the Treehouse in Disneyland.
My gosh.
So we have a transformation here from, if people haven't been keeping up to date, from Tarzan to Swiss Family Robinson, back to Swiss Family Robinson in a better way, I have to say. So here's the concept art that we got a while back, and it's been under construction for quite the while. And then look, this isn't the most up-to-date photo, but it's pretty close. It's 2 or 3 weeks back, and we can see that they're following suit to the construction, to the concept. We have had some elements appear that you've seen lately, Chase, and that's the water wheel and other things. I think they did this at the start to clear up a bit of walk-through space because. If anyone remembers from Tarzan Treehouse, it sort of came out with a big concrete support sort of trunk and sort of blocked.
Yeah, it was a bridge.
Walk through. Yeah. And they've got rid of that now. So they've opened up quite a bit of space there for walking through, which almost was a bit of a traffic jam there from time to time, wasn't it? With, a bit of a bottleneck. So I think they've done that. But what do you think of the job they've done so far? Do you think this is going to be better than Tarzan's? Or do you still have the special love for Tarzan's?
My hope was that they were going to do Encanto.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see the treehouse from Encanto. I was hoping that they'd give some representation of that film.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a huge success. It's one of my favorite films. And, there were only so many things that are in Disney that exist that have a treehouse. There's Swiss Family, Tarzan, and Encanto.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what could it be? What could it be? They can't really be going back to Swiss Family, can they? And I was like, and so I'm not a huge fan of the Swiss Family. I did like Tarzan only because I really liked the music that was playing through the treehouse. But it has taken so long for them to be working on this. I mean, it was closed. It was closed I want to say before the park closed for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had all the entire time to work on it. The park was closed for, 412 days.
Yeah.
And then ever since the park reopened, it has been under construction. So so no one's been able to, see much of anything behind Scrim until recently. With the unveiling of this. And of course, all the familiar elements are coming back. And it's always good to have a water, some sort of water feature around the park. So seeing that water wheel come in and everything. And they were just testing the... I guess what you would call them, like the cups there. They were just testing those within the past week or so.
Okay.
Running them all up through the pulley. So those were being tested, and so I'm sure it will be a lot more fluid once the water wheel comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everything is starting to really come together.
Yep.
But it'll be good to finally have these walls down and really opened up again, because right now you have the work going on at the treehouse, but they also have a huge area by the restrooms in Adventureland that are shut down. There was a water feature over there, and that is now have a huge wall. So when you have these walls in a land that's so small and narrow, it feels very claustrophobic. And so it'll be good when they bring the walls down for the treehouse and finally have all the walls down over by the restrooms, near Tiki. So once they get all this cleared up, it'll be much, much better. And of course, we just recently got the new section of Indiana Jones on the ride. The new area that has a new special effects wall.
Right.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's right. Because that was just down recently for that refurbishment, wasn't it?
Yep, quite a lengthy one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And a hugely popular ride as well. And we did see a character of Indy walk through Adventureland as well, didn't we, for a while there when the movie came out? Yeah.
It was like, okay, this all right. So we got a young Indiana Jones walking around.
Yep. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting, and like I said, Indiana Jones is a hugely popular ride and always has been in Disneyland. So, where to next? Well, let's go over to some cruise line stuff now. So, we've seen over the past week the Treasure released, and a new ship for Disney. It is Triton class, so it pretty much exactly the same ship as the Wish. Except for, of course, the interior is got all new restaurants, including that Encanto restaurant and the Jungle Cruise restaurant, which looks awesome as well. And the rooms look really nice. It's a new ship. I'm looking forward to seeing the pools and how they're laid out this time. Hopefully, we get a pool that's a little bit deeper this time than what we saw in the Wish, because that was a bit of a, I don't know, it was a bit of an issue for some people in terms of there was no sort of really deep pool or swimming pool, or more relaxation pools, I'm going to say. It's the only thing about Wish that people didn't like, which is a fantastic ship. Like, don't get me wrong. The Star Wars bar in the Wish would make me want to go there. The kids section has like a miniature Galaxy's Edge in it. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the whole thing about the Wish. Look, and just hello to everyone on Australians, Cruising Australia, because Disney Cruising Australia, because that's our new group of faith. It's been going absolutely insane, absolutely insane. We've got over 5,000 members of that group now. So hello everyone there, and we incredibly excited to see the Wonder come in. And in yesterday, it's 1 month to go. So we're going to see a Disney cruise line in just under a month cruise into Sydney Harbour, and we're desperately excited. Desperately excited.
Jealous.
We're going to film all that for you when it cruises into the harbour at 4 a.m. that morning. We also are hoping to do a press tour of the ship. So all that will come available over social media, and also right here at Magic Partners Live, and also on D News Jam, which I know you guys are starting to subscribe to. We've had some really good responses on our videos on the last couple of weeks. But yeah, the Treasure. So we're going to get themed to what here? It's the first time we haven't seen a princess in the foyer there. So we're going to get themed to Aladdin, which is great, right? Something different. And just going back, let me just go back to this video, going back to show it, give us a look at the foyer here. So as you can see from the outside, it looks like the Wish. But this foyer,
I love that though.
Yeah, yep. As we can see here, a themed to Aladdin. But not only that, we see that Arabian sort of theming right throughout the foyer, which I really like. It's really great. And like I was saying before, we're going to get this Plaza de Coco restaurant, which is new. We've never seen this on a Disney ship before. So I would say this sort of takes the place of what Frozen was on the Wish. We've got a central stage there, and you sort of sat around the central stage and around, and the music from Coco is just awesome. So we're going to get a big taste of that in a kind of Mexican fiesta. So that's great.
I like a good mariachi band.
Yep. They are awesome. And with this particular restaurant, if you sail for 7 nights, you get seated twice in this restaurant, and they don't show you the same thing either. So you get do different shows over the 2 nights. Yeah. So, and we got a bit of detail. Obviously, the ship isn't finished, so we're only getting sort of 3D renderings and stuff like that of what's going to happen. I did really like this, which is going to be the Jungle Cruise bar. Love that. That looks like it's going to take the place of the Star Wars bar. There was rumours about a Haunted Mansion bar as well. We didn't see that on this launch. So maybe that was just a
this
rumor.
one is the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which
yep.
I think is pretty cool.
Yep.
I like that. I just like the look of it. I love the blue and the gold together.
Yep.
Along with the brass and all that kind of stuff. It's just a very classic and very, I don't know. It's nice and cool looking. So it's just, especially, it's a huge difference from looking at the picture that we saw earlier from the sweet shop, for Zootopia, where it's like all like extreme pink.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I'll stick with the blue and the gold.
Yeah, there it is there as well. The bar and stuff.
But look at that. That looks fantastic.
Yep. They're really coming a long way with Disney Cruise Line. And, talking about new ships, we've got another new ship, which is going to be even larger than the Wish and Treasure, a new class. It was actually bought by Disney halfway through construction from an Asian cruise line over the pandemic. And they're getting close to finishing that now. In fact, we're going to get sailings, we hear, in 24. And that's going to be cruising out of Singapore for the Asian market. So that's really good news for Australians, because Singapore is about an 8-hour flight. So it's a lot easier than going over to Florida, which will take you like 16 hours, so half the distance. And that ship, I hear, is going to have a theme park, like a real roller coaster up on the deck. That's just a rumor at this stage, but anything's possible with Disney. And that is a huge ship. So looking forward to that one too. We will see sailings from the Treasure starting December 2024. Bookings have opened already. And let me tell you that I think it'll book out very quickly. I've a lot of chatter online saying people have already booked for the first inaugural sailings over that first 12 months. So I would suspect there will be, I would suspect that December's probably sold out already, because they'll probably do a maritime cruise over December when it opens. So I would say, go online now and take a look, but I would say that's already booked out. And moving forward, I hear that coming months past that are also booked out, particularly when we get into summer. Exclusively sailing at this stage out of Florida, but anything can happen in the future, and it'll be interesting what happens to the Wish, whether the Wish goes down to Hawaii now or does the other sort of cruises the other side of the country, because there are some San Francisco up to Mexico cruises as well that the Wish could do as well. I hope they do sort of move the ships around the country a bit, so people don't have to exclusively travel to Florida to go on one of the larger Triton class ships. Yeah, that would be good. So that's the Disney Treasure. Very excited about it. It looks great. Love the theming. Love everything about that ship. Hopefully one day you and I will get lucky enough to cruise on it.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So let's move back to Disneyland now, and something I sort of wanted to, I've led from, you can see from the thumbnail, is Disneyland Forward. So guys, look, I wouldn't get overly excited about this happening real soon, but we have. No,
it won't happen soon.
but we have.
This is supposed to be like 10. This is supposed to be like, over a span of like 10 plus years of development, and and I think they even said it would be longer than that. It's like over the years of building bits and pieces of it. But Disneyland Forward is, I think is the answer to some of the competition that, between theme parks. Disneyland needs some love on is, like we keep on seeing Walt Disney World get a lot of new attractions. I mean,
Yeah.
they've gotten the Cosmic Rewind, and they've gotten all these great new things, and they're still talking about adding more. Like they're supposed to be getting some new stuff that replaces Dinoland.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see that with any luck that we'll get Disneyland Forward over in Anaheim. But this is something that's not based on a decision of a corporation this time. This falls to the citizen level where it's like voted on and saying, yes, we want it. No, we don't.
Yep.
Yes, you can do this. No, you can't do that. And the big difference this time around, which I think serves, because they've brought up things like this before, is the big difference is last time the Disney was asking for taxpayer dollars to pay for certain things. They wanted to move certain things around, or businesses would have to be incredibly affected by the building of the new areas around the Disneyland Resort. And this time it's just a matter of rezoning what property Disney already owns.
Yeah.
So there is no new land. There is no, like, they would not have to take over anything that they don't already have.
Yeah.
And they just need to rezone things. So instead of a parking lot, can you make a parking lot theme park space?
Yeah.
Can you make it for attractions? And, and so these are the, like the Toy Story parking lot. And so this won't be a third park.
No.
This will be an extension of the existing park. So as you can see, it'll be with the hotel there. It'll be surrounding it a little bit more. You'll have probably, like the property hotels, which are currently the Grand Californian, the Disneyland Hotel, and Pixar Place.
Mm-hmm.
You will now have it be more of literal property hotels. Yeah. A lot more like what Walt Disney World has, where they are actually in the middle of, everything. And so you will see the Disneyland Hotel become more kind of front and center to being surrounded by potential theme parks than before. And so there's all kinds of things that are going around now, like where, how would you get from park to park, or would there be a third gate? So far I'm hearing from, sources on YouTube and TikTok, it would not be a third gate. You'd be able to access these more of like probably if they were to change the monorail route, maybe a little bit. We might get a monorail extension. It would be cool to see if maybe we even got a Disneyland Railroad change of track, possibly. That would be kind of cool.
Yep.
But one of the things that is just recently surfaced, thanks to a really awesome YouTuber, Bricky, is the Skyway. And so now there are things circulating as to what it would be to bring a Skyway back to Disneyland, which, if you look at all of the old videos of Disneyland, they had one. And
yeah, they did.
I've been in that. I've been on those. I've been on the Disneyland Sky. And it took you over Tomorrowland and over Fantasyland and through the Matterhorn. And it was, it was pretty wild. And, they were able to, it was nothing like what you see in Walt Disney World now back then. I mean, these are tiny little things. You were knee to knee with whoever you were sitting across from. but
kind of like
now
buckets
they're
in a way.
talking about like the one, right, exactly, and they looked that way, which kind of made it scary. But now they're talking about bringing like almost like a same type of system as what Walt Disney World just recently had.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of on the fence about this one, honestly.
Yep.
And so because I know the system isn't perfect. I know the system in Walt Disney World has crashed a few times. It's also gotten stuck for several hours.
Yeah, you're right.
And so, I'm not sure how well that would go over in California. It's a lot different when you have so much land and vast openness for Walt Disney World. But for California, to have people stuck there, I mean, you would have to interrupt potential park hours to get people unstuck.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller space.
It doesn't sound to me like it would be a great idea.
But what about it like a people mover system? Do you think that would work as well? Because
people mover would work.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now they would have to do a whole lot to what is currently in Tomorrowland because that track has not been used for years.
Yep.
Badly damaged from the rocket rods. And for anybody who remembers the rocket rods, they remember how often they were down. And while it was running, it was a pretty interesting thrill ride, but it was over before it started. It was just like, it zoomed you around and whipped you around. And, it was just not a very good system. And compared to the very successful and really kind of relaxing, rejuvenating attraction that Walt Disney World has that takes you on quite a track around. And so they would really, really need to either completely redo the track and its whole span, or, something have to happen in order to bring back the people mover. But it is what a lot of people would really love to see in Tomorrowland. I think a lot of people would love to see the return of the people mover at Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland needs some love. Come on, guys, give some love to Tomorrowland.
So what we're kind of seeing here, and this was released over the pandemic, so we saw this in 2020. The development we've had just lately is that they've actually submitted something to the county for approval. Mm-hmm. So they're moving forward, pardon the pun. Well, the pun's probably...
yes.
Yeah. They're moving forward with things. Forward. Yeah. So they're moving forward with things. And what's come to light is that we feel like, and I know you probably agree with this, Chase, that it won't be another park, although we've got enough land here for another 4 Galaxy's Edges, apparently. So there is a lot that can go into that. And we're talking about, over, 10 to 15 attractions coming into this space. And what they kind of submitted to council in Australia, but it's the county over in the States. So what they've submitted to the county is basically some noise submission as well, because we're very close to residential there. So from what you told me, Chase, it looks like they're going to build quite a large wall there with noise suppression. Of course, when you've got people in attractions and that many people together, there's a lot of noise just coming from the crowd. You said you feel like any roller coasters will need to be indoors, of course, because of the screaming.
I wouldn't think of just that. I mean, first of all, you do get a lot of, and until you're actually like, if you want to get a good example of what it's like, go into California Adventure and just walk under the Incredicoaster. And listen
loud.
to how loud it is. The track noise, along with, the sounds from the attraction, are very loud, and so they have to do that so they everybody can hear it over everything, and it delivers a clear experience. And so if you've ever been under one of those where it just you can hear it, it's like a semi truck going past on the freeway. It's very, very loud. So I think, and I just I'd be really surprised if they were going to build us some roller coasters, but I definitely saw a lot of room there in the new photos that they submitted.
Yep.
Of the zoning and how they would zone it for dark rides and also for outdoor, like family type of rides that they would be able to do, which I'm guessing is probably the type of ride we're looking at is think anything in Fantasyland. Think Dumbo, think teacups, stuff like that. Think those kind of outdoor family rides that everybody can ride. And that's probably what you're going to have in some of these new places. Something that is a lot like, Cars Land. Another good example. But I think to do some indoor stuff, we're going to have, we have the potential to do some really good indoor dark rides. And, and just see a lot. So I would love to see that kind of estimated like 13 new attractions coming in at Disneyland.
Absolutely.
Adventure. It'd be fantastic.
Really looking forward to seeing it develop over the next 10 to 20 years, depending on, how fast they can get approvals, if they can get approvals at all. I kind of think I'm feeling confident about it. I feel like this is going to happen eventually. We've got a confidence from Disney of late to spend money over the parks. We've got some. We'll talk about this on a later show, but we've got some big things happening over at Tokyo at the moment, which will be open in 2024. We've also got another big land happening over in the Chinese parks as well, which actually two. One's going to be Zootopia and the other one's going to be Frozen.
Yeah, Frozen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll talk about those on future.
I've been watching the previews and they look so amazing.
Yeah, they do. So the spend's going to be, the spend's already happening. The spend's already happening. And we've heard some really exciting news about a lot of things in the park. So just moving off Disneyland Forward, I know it's hard because it is very exciting. Let's go over to Disney World now, and what we have seen over at Disney World, not launched yet, but we've seen a lot of walkthroughs, previews from press and cast members alike. And this is Moana Way of Water. This looks really awesome. It's just a walkthrough with a lot of interactive elements and all that sort of thing. But people that have walked through it have been, I guess, more surprised than they thought they were going to be on the quality of this attraction over there in Epcot, and looks even better at night. To be honest, from what I've seen, one of our magic partners over there vlogging for you is Brian's Travel Life. He actually did a cast member preview, got invited to a cast member preview. So that's a good video to watch. And that's Brian's Travel Life. So head over there and take a look. He's got heaps of vlogs from Walt Disney World. And big shout out to you, Brian. We love you. And hopefully we can get you back on the show really soon. So go over there and take a look. What did you think of this attraction so far over there in Walt Disney World, Chase?
From what I have seen, I think this looks absolutely amazing. And I have heard the positive feedback coming from this is that it goes back to Epcot's roots which are education
Yep.
and conservation.
Yeah.
And so education is super important. It allows people to look at things closely and understand what's going on in the world around us and the impact that we have on our environment. And I think it's important to understand just how precious our water sources are.
Yeah.
Whether
Absolutely.
it be the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, streams, they all play a very important role in human survival. And
Yeah.
I think associating this with Moana, which is a beloved Disney character,
Yeah.
is spot on. Epcot did a great job, and looking at all the stuff that you can do here and the walkthroughs, it just looks so magical. And
Yep.
yeah, I mean, look at that. Disney, if there's one thing Disney really, really does well, which is incredible, is rock. And
Yeah.
if you want,
Yeah.
like anything textured like rocks or trees or anything, Disney does an amazing job with making artificial rocks.
Yeah. 100%.
And so I think this was fantastic. I mean, Cars Land is another example of just how amazing rock work is. Galaxy's Edge, of course, and
Yeah.
all of Batu, and just seeing rock work there, and then of course you put everything is water features at Disney parks are amazing. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you can have the submarine. You may not like the submarine voyage, but you got to admit it sure is beautiful. That
It is.
lagoon, when it's filled with water and the submarines are running, is gorgeous. The waterfall coming off the Matterhorn is gorgeous.
Yep.
When they have water features, the parks just sparkle. And so I think it was really, really a great idea to have something like this at Walt Disney World. And I wish we could see something like that. I think it would do so well at Disneyland. So who knows, maybe that would be something to include with Disneyland Forward.
Yeah, it would be. We hopefully we expect to see some themed lands in Disneyland Forward. But let's move on in Walt Disney World. Over the past this year, we've had a lot of talk about spending money in the parks. We got sort of a blue sky announcement, and then we've got this announcement of $60 billion spend over the parks. Well, one of the things that Walt Disney World has mentioned they want to do is a villain's land. No more detailed than that, but this sort of artist render that came out. Now, this is a few lands actually. Looks like Encanto is coming as
Encanto
well.
is definitely that one over on the top left there.
Yep.
And then, of course, it looks like over here you've got Coco.
Yep.
And so you've got the village for Miguel, which leads perfectly to Encanto almost.
Yep.
And so, and you have almost like with that picture of Maleficent, you've got a very, classic, Sleeping Beauty castle but I think the castle for even Beauty and the Beast, Adam's castle, would work really good too. Before the end of the film.
So what do you think of this Villain's Land? And do you think it's a response to Epic Universe, which is Universal's new park they're building over there, in terms of the rumor is they're building Monsters Land. So do you think Disney's sort of responding to that with Villain's Land? Can I say?
It's possible. I think, for now, if we're looking at just this blue sky image, I think that choosing, as far as if you were trying to go something, this is great as to kind of having a foot to the outside of a villain's land because unless you really look at, they've taken like Coco and Encanto there have, two characters that are considered villains. I think one is more so appropriate than the other. Like, for instance, over at Oogie Boogie this year, they have Bruno. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think Bruno's a bad guy.
No, neither do I. So I found that a weird choice.
He's a villain. I think he's a very misunderstood character. I think he loved his family. There was no villain to me in Encanto.
No.
Now Ernesto de la Cruz, that's different. You definitely could say that Ernesto de la Cruz, who is a huge hit at Oogie Boogie, because he is phenomenal. There's nothing quite like, I have never seen a live human costume quite like Ernesto de la Cruz. It's so I think that one, it would be a good like a footpath leading up into a villain's land, but I think you'd have to go pretty dark, and the stuff that they have planned for Epic Universe is going to be some of the classic monsters of Frankenstein and Dracula and Wolfman and all those kind of classic Hollywood monsters. And so, Disney, it's hard to say what things are going to be like, once Epic Universe comes into play, because, they're definitely getting better at doing attractions over at Universal. And so they're starting to figure it out, and they may actually have a pretty solid competition, if you will, to their parks. Now, that's if they just don't do all screen attractions. They need to get away from screens. Universal Studios is famous for screen attractions. And so, the one great thing that I really liked when I was going over there is at Universal Hollywood is The Secret Life of Pets, because it is a dark ride that has just massive amounts of animatronics. And they're brilliant, and the story is brilliant, and how they immerse you in this world is fantastic. Now, if they did more rides like that, wow, they would be a true competitor to Disney for sure. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do, but they are building that park fast. It is, coming along. In just a couple years, maybe we'll have the opening of Epic Universe. And so, I can see why Disney is scrambling to say, oh, let's pour this $60 billion into our parks and cruises, because that's where the money is. And so that's why Disneyland Forward is going to be so important. And that's why creating more like epic attractions is going to be super important, because now you've set the bar really high with Rise of the Resistance. You need to keep it that high.
You do. I think they will, though. Look, I see a bright future, and I will say to you this, and this is how I judge Disneyland against Universal in Hollywood. Universal, I can spend a day in. Disneyland, I need 100 days. So
100 days.
So that just sums up the difference for me. Anyway, we've gone past the hour mark, but before we go, we need to talk about what's been happening on Disney Plus in terms of Star Wars. And of course, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about Ahsoka.
Ahsoka!
So we're up to episode 7. We've only got one episode left.
More season finale.
And to go with Ahsoka, which I was really happy about, is we've had a lot of the characters appear in Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland as well. Mm-hmm. And this week, of course, on the show, we got an appearance from C-3PO, which turned a lot of us into screaming little boys. So huge appearance right at the head of the show. If you haven't been following things, Hera's been a naughty girl, and she, is up against the court martial in court. But C-3PO comes in and saves the day, basically, sent from Leia, and of course gets her off the hook in this episode. And I love that start. It was absolutely fantastic. And I could have been happy if it finished right there, but we moved into what Ahsoka was doing, and she's still in the space whale, moving into the new galaxy where Thrawn is. And Chase, I have to say with Ahsoka, one thing, I love the show, absolutely love it, because I've followed Star Wars from day dot, and I know you and I both love Rebels.
Absolutely.
And also Clone Wars. So we know exactly what's going on. For a person coming into Ahsoka without watching those shows, do you think it sort of caters to that person? Has it given enough backstory in it? Has it given enough information for someone to follow along with the story? Or is this show sort of tipping the scales towards fan servicing? What do you think?
It's fan service, 100%.
Yeah.
This series is absolute fan service from beginning to end, because it pretty much takes off where Rebels ended. This is like the live action continuance of Rebels. And this is where we get to see the crew of the Ghost, back. We get Chopper, we get Hera, we get Ahsoka, we get Sabine. We got Zeb in Mandalorian season 3. We got Ezra. We have everybody but Kanan. And if you'd paid really close attention, and I had to watch some YouTube videos for this, Hera does have a live action photo of Kanan on the dash of the Ghost. So you have to look really closely, but it is there. And people are saying that Freddie Prinze Jr. actually posed for some photos of a live action Kanan, but it doesn't look like we'll see him even in a
flashback,
even in like a flashback with Ezra. But I have to say that I absolutely love this actor who plays Ezra. I love him. He is fantastic. And the two of them, look at this. You couldn't get more Rebels than looking at this picture of Sabine and Ezra. And I think I love Sabine. I loved her since I saw her in the trailers. I think she's fantastic. I was worried about the long hair. I was like, wait, she's not going to have the long hair the whole time, right?
And then they cut it off.
They did the whole samurai, Mulan cutting of the hair. And I was like, but when I saw Ezra, I was like, oh my God. Because not only is he an incredibly attractive actor. He sounds just like Ezra, and he's got his mannerisms down perfectly.
Yep.
This last episode was a great example of just how much he can be just like Ezra. And the rumor is that his armor there is made of the dog tags of all the stormtroopers that he's killed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true, but that chainmail that's what people are saying. They're saying like those are probably the dog tags of the stormtroopers, because even Thrawn in itself, having Thrawn in is fantastic, because anybody who is a fan of the Empire, which is me, knows that you had to get this character perfect. And so we've got Mads Mikkelsen. The brothers, I get confused with them because the brothers are both in Hollywood. The two Mickelsons are both in Hollywood. But he was in Sherlock. And he plays the villain in Sherlock, and he does the voice of Thrawn in the animated series. So for Rebels, he did the voice, and so seeing him on screen, everybody was worried at first. They're like, "Oh my gosh, he has to get it right. He has to get it right." I think he nailed it. And I think that seeing him especially in this last episode where we actually got to see his strategic brain.
That's what he's known for.
Is coordinating an attack by the stormtroopers and getting everything, how he just says, if they're, whether or not they're trapped here is not my concern. He's like, they're serving a purpose. He has everything figured out. He's always several steps ahead. And so, the only time that we saw Thrawn really surprised was when he got the report back that Ahsoka's master was Anakin Skywalker. And he looked for a second. He was like, "What?" He's like, Anakin Skywalker is her master. He's like, oh boy, that makes things interesting.
Very dangerous.
Because he knows exactly who Anakin Skywalker is, and he knows very well who Vader is. And so it was a big deal for Thrawn to, Thrawn had been interacting with Vader, and so for him to not realize that Ahsoka was a part of that like the whole time was just really interesting. So you could see that brief surprise, and then it was like, okay, I've got everything figured out now. And so there are a lot of rumors as to where this is going, but now we're supposed, at least from what's been circulating around YouTube, is we're supposed to be getting another season of Ahsoka. It was put on pause because of the writer's strike.
Of course.
They were kind of like in the middle of production or kind of, figuring everything out for Ahsoka. So it looks like there's going to be another season of Ahsoka. And then we're probably supposed to be getting another season of The Mandalorian. And then they're going to give like all hands on deck for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to be doing a movie that will pretty much sum up all of these series. So it'll sum up Ahsoka, it'll sum up The Mandalorian. Who knows, we may have some sort of closure to Book of Boba Fett, and then it'll be one beautiful fan service package.
It will be. I'll be there on opening day. Just let me digress back to villains in the show.
I love Balin.
Which I found really interesting. These two villains, the Dark Jedi. Balin's really got an agenda which hasn't been revealed yet. We don't know where Balin's journey will end. And I say end because the on-screen actor has actually passed away, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So
quite unfortunate.
So I'm feeling like we will, and it is very, very sad because he's played an immensely popular role here.
I mean, from the moment he was on screen, it's just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And for anybody who has played, Star Wars The Old Republic, when we got the Eternal Throne expansion, Valkorion is just like this guy. He could play Valkorion so well. So anybody who has played that game, that multiplayer game that's been around for so long, would know who Valkorion is. And it's a shame we lost him. It will be very difficult to replace him.
Yeah.
So I don't
100%.
know whether they'll do that and just have him fade into darkness, or if they'll actually find someone who, can very closely resemble him. But I love Balin Skull. He is an amazing character.
And he's definitely on a quest. In this scene, the two are separated. Master and apprentice are separated. So we kind of see that they're going to take separate paths from now on. But it'd be interesting to see what happens with Balin in the last episode, whether he finds what he's after and then we get some sort of conclusion to his role in the part, or whether, like you said, we'll see someone. But to be honest with you, to take over what he's done will be incredibly hard for another actor to do.
Yes.
Yep. So that kind of sums it up. We've gone well over the hour again. We're into the hour and 20 minutes, which we always do on the show. I hope you're still with us, guys. Like, if you are, well done. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Of course, we're going to be we'll try to be back every Saturday for you. So Chase and I are going to try and get together every week and have a big chat about Disney, which is not really hard for us to do. And we'll see if we can drop the show for you on Saturday mornings, as this one has. Thanks very much for joining me today, Chase. You can, of course, catch Chase over on that TikTok QR code there over on his TikTok. And do go over to Disneyland Today. Yeah, there it is. And do go over to DisneylandToday.net, which is really important, for all the latest info on Disneyland. And I know a lot of us Australians, I know from our group, are going to Disneyland. I believe one of our group members is leaving on Sunday to go over. Oh. So make sure you stop by DisneylandToday.net before you go to Disneyland and get all the latest info. And don't forget to join up there as well. Look,
working on some big upgrades there.
Awesome.
Constantly working on it.
Yeah, always a really good site to visit and lots of good info, where to eat, what to wear, all that sort of stuff is all over there. So take a good look at that. So we're going to say goodbye for now. Thanks for joining us, Chase. And this has been Magic Partners Live. We'll see you next Saturday. We can't wait to talk about Disney again, and hopefully you can join us then. Goodbye, everyone. See you later.